Do you want to know how SmackDown started? The same way it always starts, Pinky, with a Bloodline video reminding you of what the Bloodline did last week. Because we all think about WWE, you're thinking about the Bloodline. Also, hello my friends, thank you very much for joining me as always. And listen, tomorrow, Progress Wrestling. I am making my first title defense with my Progress British Championship. So if you're in the area, you can come on down, or you can watch it on Triller TV, or you can watch it on Demand Progress. You can laugh at me and go, ha ha, you suck at wrestling, Simon. That's perfectly fine. But also, what a great weekend it is, because we did just have an episode of SmackDown, and it was pretty damn brilliant. Let's up those downs. Clearly the Bloodline 2.0 had watched that video too, because they walked out, led by Santos Escobar. Man, they didn't say much of anything, I suppose because they think the video's done the job. So he made it very clear that his team is going to dominate when they get to War Games, and Roman Reigns is totally screwed. I mean, look, here we are, but stupid Roman ain't even at the building yet. Therefore, Sikoa has come up with a good idea. By the time the tribal chief, or the old tribal chief, does get to the ring, they can negotiate the terms of his surrender. Good grief. And that was really it too. It was super fast, especially for an opening promo segment on a WWE show. And it actually made me think, well, maybe Roman Reigns isn't at the building and we're waiting for him to turn up. But listen, it was just planting some seeds. You wait, you probably already know, but you wait until you see what we get at the end. It made me go absolutely nuts. I mean, genuinely, it was excellent, which was kind of the theme for SmackDown, because we then had a match in the Women's US title tournament. And do you know who the victor was? It was Chelsea Green. She's my pick. She's also facing Blair Davenport and Bianca Belair, and it was smart having Bianca in this, because of course our brains go, well, she's definitely going to win. Although when it does come to Blair, man, we have to give her something come 2025. At the moment, it's not been the best call-up from NXT, and if we're not going to try, why even bother? Green was without Piper Niven, and Bianca was without Jade Cargill, which was going to tie in. And I suppose due to this, they wanted to win very quickly, so they actually had a battle of the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Listen, they clearly forgot the rules. It was way too early and it didn't work. Blair Davenport was definitely offended that she wasn't involved in this, so she got in the ring, and I tell you, all wrestlers are now inspired by Mario. She did a big stomp. Turned out Bianca also had the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break in her pocket. So when we did come back from the advert, Bianca was just in control. And I can't tell you why. It did mean that Chelsea was free because Bianca was focusing on Davenport, so Green came in and she hit the flipping Rough Rider. Shout out to her husband. Davenport then stomped again, so she definitely must have been talking to Luigi too, when Belair was like, is that all you've got? And she double German suplex both of them. Now I know I go on about this a lot, and she has been very good with the tag team when it comes to Jade Cargill and the tag team belts. But next year, Bianca Belair got to go back to having a singles mega push. Blair then ran at Chelsea, who just got out of the way, meaning Bianca went right into the turnbuckle, when Blair was like, haha, I'm gonna jump off the top rope, and Green went, no you're not, and gave her a superplex. I tell you, this was fun. Bianca then flew in with a 450, although Chelsea Green was able to break that pin up, and just when it looked like she was gonna KOD everybody's ass, we got some storyline. Because the WWE production team clearly hate Bianca Belair, and they decided to play a video, and it was Jade Cargill, and she had been murdered, or at least taken out and beaten up, because she was laying on a car, and she wasn't moving. Now Bianca Belair was so worried about her friend, she forgot about the match and ran to the back, so not only, again, did this open the door for somebody else to win, but you'd have to figure that it's just taken Jade out of War Games. So that's more narrative. Chelsea didn't care though, because even though Davenport tried to hit her with something, she just reversed that. She scored with the Unprettier, she got the 1, 2, 3, and I was doing the dance of joy. Because as I keep on saying, Chelsea Green should be the first ever Women's United States champion. That is the choice. This is definitely getting it up. Naomi and Bayley were then worried because, of course, Jade Cargill was headed to a local medical facility in a local medical facility wagon, and Bianca went with her too. Because that's what pals do. Which is when we moved into LA Knight's Open Challenge. I'm just going to be a massive nerd and give this a down because it's just feeling a little bit lackluster at the moment. Like, I still love LA Knight. He is a super duper whooper star. But when you compare it to everything else on the show, well, it's just lacking some kind of a fire. So if I do great things on a curve, which you have to do, yeah, sort of weird that we have this important championship, but sometimes it doesn't feel that important at all. That's a little bit of a down. He was taking on Santos Escobar as well, but before they started to fight, Shinsuke Nakamura appeared on the big screen. He was all like, LA Knight, I've been watching you, and I now know you better than you know yourself. Sounds illegal. Shinsuke basically thinks that he is insecure and consumed by fear. That's like, Nakamura, that's what you came up with after you stalked somebody? I could have told you that for free. Welcome to the human race. Of course, Nakamura is now excited because he is going to prove that right. Santos was like, well, if this idiot LA is going to watch the screen, I'm going to attack him from behind. And he did. Now, this was a really odd way round to structure it because, of course, Santos versus LeRea was for the US Championship, but it was obvious that we were going to do Knight versus Shinsuke, so the result was clear even before the bell had gone ding-ding. It also just kind of felt like I've seen this 1,000 times, even if that's not true. That does tie into the down we've already given it. But otherwise, you could just sit back. This was quite fun. Escobar also chopped the shit out of this guy before he hit a senton, but he forgot that LA Knight hate necks, and from nowhere, he was able to hit a neck breaker, so I'm surprised he didn't get in the local medical facility wagon, because clearly his neck was broken. Otherwise, someone is lying to me. Nakamura then decided he didn't want to put this down to chance, so just as LA Knight was going to do his big elbow, he did turn up and cast distraction. But that didn't do anything. Like, Santos hit the splash of the frogs, and then like just decided, oh man, I'm so tired, and my MP and HP are getting low, so he just hit the BFT. 1, 2, 3. Shinsuke was then so mad he beat the absolute crap out of LA and he finished him off with the running knee. So we'll do it at Survivor Series or we'll do it at Saturday Night's main event. But I explained this 7 days ago. Not in any of my lives do I think that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to win. So maybe that's something we need to address going forward. But in terms of the match and the fact that Shinsuke is back, I'm going to give it an up. Johnny Gargano was then in the back apologizing to the Motor City Machine Guns. I said, John, what are you doing? If Tommaso Ciampa hears this, he's going to kill you. Johnny was actually still angling, though, because he did ask for a tag team title shot. When Shelley and Saban were like, well, I'm sorry, can't do that. That's already gone to the Street Profits. Now, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins were stood right here. So they walked into the shot and said, yeah, we're going to win the tag team titles. And after surveying the situation, we should probably turn DIY heel. I think there's something in that. Then all these 3 teams can continue to evolve. And look, the men's tag team scene on SmackDown is way better than it has been on months. Let's keep it going. Now, we also saw the OG Bloodline in the background here, so they finally arrived. When Nick Aldis went up to Nia Jax, he clearly wants to be the Texan of the Year, he said, did you attack Jade Cargill? Nia Jax went, no, I wanted to do that in War Games. So, well done, Nick. Maybe you'll be the next Sherlock Holmes. Now, before he could do anything else, he saw Cody Rhodes in a right huff, and he was like, Cody, please don't go to the ring. Kevin Owens didn't even show up. Cody was like, are you an absolute buffoon? Of course he's here, so I am marching to the squared circle, and you'll see, Nicky boy, what will happen. He did exactly this too, and my friends, I will tell you for free, this was damn excellent. Because Cody instantly reminded us that Randy Orton is dead and KO is responsible, so stop hiding in your little cove and get out here so we could talk. And all of a sudden, you could hear a Canadian-American accent, and damn it, Mr. Owens was here. Now, he lost it instantly because he was like, oh man, the only reason I got summoned to SmackDown is because the great Cody demanded it. And you know what, Rhodes? I am sick and tired of you getting every single thing that you want. I mean, it's like your crap doesn't stink. Now, Kevin was doing this all on the outside of the ring, so when Cody tried to get to him, the useless security stopped him. When Owens was like, dude, can you not even see what's going on here? All of this is your flubbing fault. So why are you mad at me? Because KO, of course, launched into his big tirade saying, for 4 years I fought the Bloodline, and Roman Reigns was trying to kill me, and even when you first came back to WWE, you stood by my side, and I stood by your side. I helped you at WrestleMania 39, I celebrated you at WrestleMania 40, and Roman pissed the entire locker room off, and as soon as he needed an ally, you put your hand up and said, I'll do it, and you didn't think about Kevin Owens at all. I was like, wait a minute, how is Kevin Owens the bad guy here? Cody then flipped out and started shouting like he was the flipping emperor, because he was like, man, Kevin, you can tell yourself whatever you want, but you are a self-sabotager, and the biggest reason Kevin Owens doesn't think that Kevin Owens should be bigger is because of Kevin Owens. He put the blame on his shoulders. This is because while he's obsessed with being the top guy, he forgets it's a team player, because look at your accomplishments, man. You've been in the WWE for 10 years, you're a Grand Slam champion, and if we are talking about the modern era, you're one of the greats. Now, you know my opinion on this. That is absolutely true. Kevin Owens is a modern day GOAT. Even then, though, KO cannot see it, and let's go back to Bash at Berlin. He had the chance to pull the trigger, and he didn't do it. When eventually lost his mind and he pulled the trigger on the wrong person, that's when he pile drove Randy Orton, who, by the way, did not deserve it. I mean, maybe if he had done that, he would have been the champion right now. So once again, Kevin's getting in his own head. And by the way, you have crossed the line to such a degree, my boy. I, Cody Rhodes, will now cross all of the lines, and and essentially he said he was gonna kill him. Kevin sort of laughed that off and said, listen, we will have a match and it'll be on my time. And because the fans went boo, boo, and they weren't saying boo earns, he just went, well, now you're not getting it tonight. I tell you, this dude is so good. So is Cody. When it does go down, however, as always, Kevin Owens will just be doing his job. By the way, Mr. Rhodes, while I still love Randy Orton, I most definitely hate you. I tell you, that one hurt. Rhodes then tried to balance the books and say, no, man, it's you that you hate. And once again, I think we are doing this as Saturday night's main event. And this is how you make me go, well, maybe Kevin Owens will win, even though deep down on my Tootsie Toes, I do not think he's going to win. But this is how you do a promo segment. It was filled with emotion, and even though they were yelling at each other for 5 minutes, it felt really, really real. So we have just created the best atmosphere, and honestly, I'm excited to see it, which is why I watch television programs. It is absolutely getting an up, and you should check it out too. The Bloodline were then in the back after this, and they were all sad pandas. They were like, well, who the hell's gonna be our fifth man? We're out of option. Now, Cody Rhodes was suggested at one point, but Roman was like, man, that's old news. I've moved past that. When Sami Zayn was like, listen, why don't we ask Seth Rollins one last time? And Roman snapped him a look like he had suggested the Disco Inferno. So Seth definitely ain't doing it. Now, I absolutely love that because it means that from a storyline perspective, Rollins is sticking by his principles. When Roman, who's meant to be the leader and the tribal chief, had the worst idea, it's like, well, let's just do it as 4 guys. And if we die, we die together. This was me, I'd be like, bro, I'm out. You're a cult leader. Now, however, the rest did agree, so we left this open. And once again, it was gonna get sorted out in about 40 minutes. And it is really, really good. As we were backstage, we then cut to Cody Rhodes, who was storming through the back, when Carmelo Hayes decided to go, you're an idiot, bro, and you're bringing all of this on yourself. Cody didn't want to hit any of that, though, so he shoved Melo, and do you know what Hayes did? He stood up to this guy and he pushed him back. Now, I know that sounds like nothing, but there was just something about the way we did this. I mean, that's the champion, and Carmelo Hayes didn't give a flap. Cody even told an arriving Nick Aldis that maybe he screwed up his first draft pick, and we are now doing that match next week, which I find very intriguing. So again, this came and went so quickly, but the execution was spot on. When we did Naomi and Bayley taking on Tiffany, Stratton, and Candice LeRea, and it ended in a disqualification. Yeah, that kind of sucked. Now, this was to set up War Games, of course, and to start, Naomi went after Tiffany, because Tiffy time has been a constant pain in her ass. Candice got whooped as well, when the heels had a great plan, because Nia Jax wasn't ringside. They were like, why don't we hide behind her? My gosh, it worked. They really did make Bayley and Naomi look like fools, because they got beaten up for a while, but then eventually, Bayley dig tagged it. She beat the crap out of Candice LeRea, and at first I thought they were going to get squashed. They didn't. And that was mostly because after Bayley had murked LeRea with a dive, Naomi and Bayley decided to pose, which of course triggered the most powerful force in all of sports entertainment, the commercial break, and surprise, surprise, when we came back from the advert, the bad guys were in control. And they would have probably won if it wasn't for these meddling kids, or the fact that Tiffany decided to push her own D-pad, and she started to pose, when Candice tagged herself in, and then they weren't on the same page anymore, because you know the deal in WWE, if you are in any kind of relationship, it's gonna go bad. Stratton then slapped herself back in and booted Bayley in the face, but Naomi was going nuts at this point, and just as Bales did get back into this, and she was gonna get the hot tag to Naomi, Nia Jax just grabbed Naomi and threw her into a barricade. The ref was like, well, of course I have to disqualify you now. So look, it didn't work. It felt so lame and like a proper get out of jail free card. So that's part of getting it down. However, Io Sky ran out afterwards and did this amazing springboard onto Nia. When Liv Morgan and Raquel I Wear Sunglasses, you unlock the Atara Rodriguez were also here, and they sort of balanced the books. Of course, though, the big send-off was the fact that Liv Morgan and Kenny the Kendo Stick was here, and she whooped everybody's ass. You know my opinions on this, they're not going to change. We should book Rhea like that till the cows come home. So this really did build the Women's War Games match well, and of course it left something in the air, because who is now gonna be on the good guy side? Because Jade Cargill is out of the match. So when you actually take the fight that we did have, the tag team fight, and all the aftermath, screw the DQ, who cares? When we sort of got a I'm becoming an asshole versus I'm also becoming an asshole match. Montez Ford versus Tommaso Ciampa. Because obviously over the last few weeks, both guys have been showing a different side to them. You may even say they have more edge, not Adam Copeland. So here, they just got into a big old fight. They are punching each other in the face. Everybody in the back must be playing Nintendo though. because the way Montez got up on him here was by giving him a stomp like he was a Goomba. Ford eventually did a flip because he loves doing those things, so Tommaso threw him into Alan the announce table. So once again, this was proper back and forth wrestling tennis. Montez was then able to hit a bomb of power and a standing moonsault, but Ciampa doesn't care about any of that stuff, and I got fibbed to again, because he hit a neck breaker. As far as I'm concerned, I looked on the internet, nobody actually had their neck broken. I think at this point, Tommaso realized, wait a minute, if I win this, I can go yell at the Motor City Machine Guns again. So he went to do the fairy tale ending, but Montez stopped that when he came back with something, when once again Ciampa went for the fairy tale ending, when they kind of had this hoorah-rah, when eventually Ford just dropped to his knees, and he hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, and he got the win, but actually the way they executed it was very good. Now, Tommaso went insane after this, to the point Angelo Dawkins had to calm him down, and then Johnny Gargano ran out because he wanted to be peacekeeper, but once again it all went bad. When all was said and done, Tommaso Ciampa pushed Johnny Gargano on his ass again. Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin were also here, which was a terrible idea, and as Ciampa did storm off, he shouted, "Whose side are you on anyway?" So like I say, it does kind of feel like a heel turn is just around the corner, and like I say, the men's division on SmackDown when it comes to the tag team scene, it's night and day from a few months ago. I enjoyed this. When? Well, WWE went and did it. It's like Reddit booking, but I tell you, my friends, it was flipping brilliant. Because both bloodlines arrived in the ring after their very, very long entrance themes, and they looked at each other, because that means it's super serious. Solo then made it clear that he still thinks they're all family, and he doesn't want to fight. He wants to get back on the same page so they can rule WWE for decades and decades, and in fact, what they're doing now is a giant waste of time. So he is most definitely a James Bond villain when he looked at Roman and said, dude, you don't have a fifth man, you don't have a wise man, and you don't have a choice. So I was like, he really is a James Bond bad guy. You also said if they don't do this, they're gonna die. So bring down the crying counter, and just when Reigns got the microphone and he was going to talk, we heard it, and this place came unglued. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Heyman is back. I mean, you've never heard a pop like it, and it was so wonderful, and Heyman even said, listen, the last time you saw me, I was being thrown through Alan the announce table, so maybe my maths is a little bit off, but you can't do 5-on-4 in a War Games. That doesn't work. Thankfully, as the wise man, though, he has gone and balanced the books, and the fifth guy is going to be Repo Man. I shouldn't have done it. That is the worst time for me to do that, but instead, it is his old buddy. It was CM Punk. I don't even care, man. Not only did this place become unglued, so did I. Who the flub saw that coming? I mean, we kind of did, but we also kind of didn't. They all brawled, and of course the OG Bloodline got the better of it, which meant Roman Reigns and CM Punk were staring each other down. And think about that happening even a year ago. I mean, good grief. Punk also made it very clear that he was only here for Paul Heyman and what the flub was going on with Heyman, because not only was he kind of dressed like Solo Sikoa, but he was also winking at Jimmy Uso here. So I smell a rat, man, or maybe it's like a red herring, and I shouldn't be smelling a rat. But my gosh, this has me intrigued. Don't come into my house too and go, well, it doesn't make sense. I mean, apart from the fact that CM Punk was the OG Heyman guy, do you not remember a few months ago when Paul was in danger? He went to CM Punk, he's like, please help me, help me. Also, there could be more here, because he didn't pick up Roman Reigns' call last week. Oh yeah, if you think a swerve is coming, well, I think you may be right. So all things considered, when you do sit down and think about this, especially because a few years ago, Roman Reigns was ragging on CM Punk in interviews, I am not just gonna give it an up, I am gonna give it a golden up. Like, it also opens the door for the CM Punk Seth Rollins feud, which they keep on teasing, because if he helps Roman Reigns, Seth is gonna be like, I can't handle this, and he will fall into a Kevin Owens Drew McIntyre situation, where even though he is playing the bad guy, actually everything he says is true. So I just love the fact we do now live in this WWE world where literally anything can happen. Like, if I transported myself back to 2019 and somebody told me this, I would slap them right in the face. But now I would look like the idiot. You should definitely go watch this today. Which brought us to the end of SmackDown, and if you were not pumped for Survivor Series, this has completely changed that, surely. It was just an entertaining show from top to bottom. Up. Now, of course, my friends, please do leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Raw, to get all my ridiculous wrestling opinions. Otherwise, you have a great weekend. I'll see you soon.